On one hand, you have all these tech layoffs happening,
Right, layoffs everywhere.
but then on the other hand, everyone's talking about needing more AI skills. So it's kind of confusing. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for people looking for jobs?
Exactly. It's a total mixed bag of signals. So our mission today is to help you make sense of it all, figure out what's really going on, and see what it means for your own career path. Maybe even spot some opportunities.
Right on. So let's start with those layoffs, because those are hard to ignore.
Yeah.
They've been going on since like 2022, and they just keep coming.
Yeah, layoffs. Black FII says almost 570,000 people have been laid off in tech from 2022 to October 2024, which is insane.
Yeah, and that's not even counting the ones that don't get reported. It's a
Yeah.
lot of, and over 141,000 just this year alone. It's not just small companies either. We're talking Dell, Intel, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Samsung, the big names.
And here's the thing. A lot of these companies aren't just laying people off because they're struggling. Some of them are actually laying people off to rehire for AI roles.
So it's like they're restructuring their whole workforce to focus on AI.
Exactly. Like Fiona Mark, she's an analyst at Forrester. She said that a lot of companies overhired during the pandemic when everyone was going remote and stuff. And now that things are settling down and the economy's shifting,
Right.
they're realizing they need different skills, and AI is at the top of their list.
So it's not just about having bodies in seats anymore. Companies want specific skills, and they want them now.
Yeah, it's way more targeted and strategic.
Yeah.
No more pandemic hiring sprees.
But isn't there this huge gap between the AI skills companies want and the people who actually have them? Like everyone's scrambling to hire AI experts, but
Yeah.
are there even enough people out there?
That's the big paradox. There's massive demand for AI skills, but not enough qualified people. It's a real challenge for companies.
So what happens? Do they just offer insane salaries to poach people from each other?
Well, they might have to.
Yeah.
It's going to get competitive. Robert Half did a survey and found that over half of IT hiring managers are planning to hire in the second half of 2024, even with the economy slowing down.
Wow. So even with everything going on, companies are still betting big on AI,
They are. It's the future.
which is good news if you have those AI skills.
Yeah.
They're going to be fighting over you. But what about people in roles that are easily automated? Like our sources mentioned a bunch of jobs, data entry, customer service, payroll.
Yeah, a lot of those jobs have tasks that are really repetitive and follow specific rules,
Right.
which makes them perfect for automation using things like RPA, robotic process automation.
So it's not like robots are literally taking over, but software is definitely stepping in.
Right. It's software that can mimic what humans do to complete those tasks.
Interesting. So it's not just about eliminating those jobs completely, but more about changing them.
Exactly. And to really understand how that looks, let's dive into one specific example that keeps coming up in our sources. Accounts payable receivable.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that one a lot. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how AI is impacting that role.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Oh,
Okay, so let's break it down. When you think about an accounts payable receivable role, what do they do all day? It's a lot of paperwork, right? Invoices, purchase orders, receipts.
Tons of it.
Yeah, and all of that is filled with data that needs to be entered and processed. Traditionally, someone would have to manually type all that in.
That sounds so tedious.
Right. Super time consuming.
Yeah.
And it's easy to make mistakes. But now we have AI-powered software that can do a lot of that heavy lifting using OCR, optical character recognition.
OCR.
Yeah, it basically means the software can read and extract data from those documents automatically. So no more manually typing in every single detail.
That's amazing. So much faster and probably way more accurate.
Exactly. And it gets even better. AI can actually verify the data it extracts too. Using machine learning, it can cross-check the information with other records and flag any discrepancies that a human might miss.
Oh, wow. So it's like having a super-powered assistant double-checking your work.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And these AI models can analyze tons of data in real time, which makes them way more accurate than humans at spotting potential errors.
That's incredible. So basically, AI is taking over the boring stuff and making sure everything is correct.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Our source also mentioned automated payment approvals and scheduling.
Oh, yeah. That was interesting.
So instead of having someone manually approve, every single payment companies can set up rules to automatically approve payments below a certain amount. Anything suspicious gets flagged for human review.
That makes sense. So it streamlines the whole process and frees up the AP specialist for more important tasks.
Exactly. Instead of chasing down approvals, they could be focusing on things like analyzing spending patterns or negotiating better deals with vendors.
Right. So they're not just pushing papers anymore. They're actually adding more strategic value to the company.
Exactly. And we can't forget about fraud detection. AI is a game changer there too.
Oh, right. AI can catch fraud.
Yeah, AI algorithms can monitor transactions in real time and look for any unusual activity that might indicate fraud. They can analyze massive data sets, transaction histories, vendor behavior, invoice amounts, all sorts of things to identify red flags that humans might miss.
Wow. So it's like having a superpowered security guard watching over your finances 24/7.
You got it. And it's not just about security. Either AI can help with things like account reconciliation, vendor management, even cash flow forecasting. It's pretty amazing how much it can do.
It sounds like AI can handle pretty much everything in that role. So what's left for humans to do?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the answer is it's not about replacing humans completely. It's about augmenting their capabilities. AI can handle the repetitive rule-based tasks, the stuff that's easy to automate, but it can't replicate human judgment, creativity, and problem solving.
Right. So it's like a partnership. AI handles the boring stuff and humans focus on the higher level thinking.
Exactly. And this pattern isn't just limited to accounts payable receivable. We
Hmm.
see it in a lot of the jobs mentioned in your sources. AI is changing how we work across the board, making us more efficient and freeing us up to focus on tasks that require uniquely human skills.
Which brings us back to the skills gap. What are some of the core skills people need to thrive in this AI-driven world? I mean, it's clear that things are changing, but how do we adapt?
That's the million-dollar question, and luckily there are a lot of answers. It's a mix of technical skills and what are often called soft skills.
Okay, so technical skills first. What are we talking about?
Machine learning is definitely crucial. It's basically teaching computers to learn from data and make predictions.
So like teaching computers to think?
In a way, yes.
Hmm.
It's about training algorithms to recognize patterns and make decisions based on those patterns. Machine learning is used everywhere from preventing credit card fraud to powering those personalized recommendations you see online.
Oh, wow, I never thought about it like that. So it's not just for tech companies, it's being used in almost every industry.
Exactly. And it's only going to become more prevalent. Another important technical skill is deep learning, which is a more advanced form of machine learning.
Deep learning, what's that all about?
It uses artificial neural networks, which are inspired by the human brain to analyze massive amounts of data. Deep learning is driving a lot of the breakthroughs we see in AI, like image recognition, natural language processing, even drug discovery.
Wow, deep learning sounds really powerful.
It is. It's what allows AI to do things that were once considered impossible. And then there's natural language processing, or NLP, which is all about teaching computers to understand and process human language.
Oh, right, like Siri and Alexa and all those chatbots that can answer your questions.
Exactly. NLP is everywhere these days, and it's becoming more and more sophisticated all the time. Then, of course, there's data science, which is essential for anyone working with AI.
Data science, what does that have to do with AI?
Well, data science is all about extracting insights and knowledge from data, and AI algorithms rely on data to learn and make predictions. So you need to understand data to understand AI.
That makes sense. So what kind of data science skills are we talking about?
Things like data collection, data cleaning, data analysis, and data visualization. These skills are in high demand across a wide range of industries.
Okay, so those are some of the key technical skills. But you also mentioned soft skills. What are those and why are they important in an AI-driven world?
Soft skills are things like communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving. They're the skills that make us uniquely human, and they're more important than ever in a world where AI is automating so many tasks.
So even though AI is becoming more advanced, we still need those human skills to succeed.
Absolutely. Companies need people who can think creatively, solve complex problems, and adapt to new situations. These skills will set you apart in the job market regardless of your technical background.
That's reassuring to hear. It's not just about being a tech whiz, it's about being a well-rounded individual.
Exactly. And the good news is there are plenty of resources available to help people develop these skills. We've already talked about some of the education programs out there.
Right, like those AI and machine learning certifications and the cloud platform training.
Exactly. And there are also programs specifically focused on automation and RPA, which is
Yeah.
becoming increasingly important across many industries.
So there are plenty of opportunities to upskill and prepare for the future. It sounds like it's all about being proactive and embracing the changes that are happening.
Exactly. The key is to stay curious and be a lifelong learner. This field is constantly evolving, so embracing continuous learning will help you stay ahead of the curve.
That's great advice. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the specific skills people need to thrive in an AI-driven world. But what about the people who are losing their jobs to automation? What happens to them? I mean, this is a big concern for a lot of people.
You're right. It's a valid concern. And it's something we need to address as a society. We can't just leave people behind as technology advances.
Exactly. It's the fear a lot of people have robots taking over their jobs. So what can we do to help people adapt and thrive in this changing landscape? I mean, is there hope for those who are being displaced by automation?
It is a big question.
Yeah.
What can we actually do? It feels so overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
But I think there are things we can do, both as individuals and as a society. We've already talked about education and training programs,
Right.
and those are going to be key for helping people develop the skills they need for these new AI-powered roles. It's not just about learning to code or anything super technical.
Right. It's more about understanding how AI is changing different industries and figuring out how to work alongside these new technologies.
Exactly. And it's also about creating new jobs in industries that leverage the power of AI.
Yeah.
It's not just about replacing old jobs with new ones. It's about fostering innovation and entrepreneurship in these emerging fields.
I like that. It's like instead of just focusing on what's being lost, we should also be looking at all the new opportunities that are being created. Absolutely. It's about seeing AI as a catalyst for growth and progress. Earlier in our deep dive, we talked about some of the potential anxieties around AI and job displacement, but I think we've landed in a much more optimistic place.
Yeah, I think so too. The more you learn about AI, the less scary it becomes, and you start to see the potential it has to make our lives better.
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective from fear to possibility. We can't stop technological progress, and we shouldn't try to. But we can make sure that progress benefits everyone.
Yeah, instead of fearing change, we can learn to embrace it and use it to create a better future.
Exactly. And I think the key is to remember that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution. We have a voice, and we can influence how AI is developed and used.
That's a good point. It's easy to feel powerless when you think about how rapidly technology is advancing, but we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what can we do as individuals? We're not all AI experts or policymakers, but we can still make a difference.
Right. What can we do? I mean, I'm just one person.
Well, one of the most important things you can do is educate yourself about AI. The more you understand how it works, its benefits, its risks, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions and engage in meaningful conversations about it.
So read articles, listen to podcasts, take online courses, that kind of thing.
Exactly. There are so many resources available, and it's easier than ever to learn about these topics.
Okay, so educate ourselves. What else can we do?
You can support organizations that are promoting responsible AI development and use. There are a lot of groups out there focused on AI ethics, AI policy, AI for social good. You can donate to these organizations, volunteers spread the word about their work. Even small actions can make a big difference.
That's great. And I think it's also important to be mindful of our own use of AI. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we need to be aware of how it's being used and make conscious choices about the data we share and the technologies we adopt.
Absolutely. Read the privacy policies of those AI-powered apps. Be thoughtful about your digital footprint. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI, and it starts with being informed and engaged consumers.
I love that. So to recap, we started by looking at the tech layoffs and the demand for AI skills. Then we took a deep dive into how AI is changing specific roles, using accounts payable receivable as a great example. We talked about the importance of both technical skills like machine learning and NLP and those essential soft skills that will always be valuable.
And we explored all the amazing resources available for upskilling and adapting to this new world of work. It's an exciting time to be alive.
It really is. And while we acknowledge the anxiety some people might have about AI taking over jobs, we end up feeling pretty optimistic about the future.
I agree. I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's up to us to make sure it's used to create a better world. A world where technology and humanity work together to create something truly remarkable.
Yes. To a future where AI is used to empower, not to overpower.
To a future where technology helps us solve some of the world's biggest challenges, like climate change and poverty. To a future that's just more sustainable and more fulfilling for all.
That's a future I want to be a part of. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. We've learned so much, and I hope you have too.
Me too. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What's the one thing we want them to remember from this conversation?
I think the most important thing is to embrace curiosity. Don't be afraid to learn and explore. The future is full of possibilities, and AI is just one piece of the puzzle.
I love that. So to all our listeners out there, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay hopeful. The future is in our hands. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.